Howdy, folks. Welcome back. And we're here with Jelbait Tackle Outdoors. I know I probably look like Richard Petty, but it is awfully sunny out here today, so I need to sport the shades. And you may hear a lot of wildlife in the background, the waterfowl and whatnot. All the feathered friends out here are very vocal today, but I guess I'll be vocal. But I'm not going to be too vocal too long. So good for you. I know sometimes these stories can drag on forever. So this story takes place back in the early 90s. Oh, here goes the sprinkler system across the way. I tried to find a time slot where there was no lawn care and everything like that. Hopefully nobody interrupts us with a bunch of noise nuisance. But so back in the early 90s, I was working for a big arts and crafts retailer similar to Michael's Arts and Crafts. Matter of fact, the location I was working for at the time, I think, is now a Michael's Arts and Crafts. I think they were bought out or had to liquidate or something eventually, but we had a pretty big franchise, and it eventually became AC Moore. Eventually became a very large arts and crafts franchise, and then through transition of different management ownership, they went public. It just kind of went went down the tubes. But for the most part, it was a very nice, well-run family business. They had a lot of goals, a lot of inspiration. The president of AC Moore at the time, the owner of AC Moore, who was the president and I guess CEO of Woolworth Company when he was, you know, growing through retail, he ended up founding AC Moore. So really liked him, his family. There's a few stories I could tell there. I don't know that it would be suitable for this platform, but maybe one day if I get together with some other people, I can discuss some of those crazy events. But so Jack Parker was a really nice guy, very smart guy, very smart guy. The one thing I did not like about his philosophy was every time he would open up a new AC Moore store or branch, he would bring it. It wasn't organically promotion. It wasn't an organic promotion. He would bring in another person he knew from the Woolworth world that was a manager, and then he brought them in to be manager. So these people would come in cold off the street. I didn't really like that whole lot. Um, so had been a little bit of transition in Broomall, Pennsylvania, and I forget the order of different managers. There was one guy there who lived near Reading, Pennsylvania. He drove like an hour and a half to work every day. It was crazy. It was just like I didn't like how they transferred people. I don't know if it's like a loyalty test or what, but when you work a 10 or 11 hour day and you got to spend 3 hours on the road, that's pretty much craziness. But they hired a guy named something Hess. Mike Hess is what his name was. And he had formerly been it was like the vice president of Woolworths in Puerto Rico, something like that. I'm 95% sure that was it. He was the vice president of Woolworths for Puerto Rico. So this guy came in, and he was from New York and New York City area, and he was very belligerent, very rude to people. He thought he was untouchable, and he did a lot of stupid things. A lot of stupid things. Uh, I'm going to tell you what transpired in our interaction, and I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I do know a few things in life, and when I do know, and I feel someone's trying to make the wrong decision, I try and share a little bit of my knowledge and talk them out of it. But in this case, it was almost like, all right, you want to be done? You want to join the Darwin Awards? Let's do this thing. I didn't say that, but that's what I was thinking. Um, so he had this old, I don't, I, here, my nickname is Frugal Fred, and he had this car that in theory, he should not be driving because he should have had more finances than he had. But some little, I don't know, like a four-door sedan, like a Buick or I don't know what it was. But so I had back then. I had a little Blazer. What do they call the little ones? S10 Blazer or something. That's what I had anyway. So he wants me to jump, push start him to, get his vehicle going. And I'm like, I don't know, Mike. I said, you've got an automatic. I don't think that's going to. Ah, no, it's got to. Just do what I tell you. I'm like, Mike, I don't know. I know I've done it before with a clutch. I don't think you can do it with an automatic. I said, I'm not 100% sure, but I wouldn't. Just do what I tell you. One of them type characters. So this part was so funny. After when I tell you the other stories, like I'm happy this happened because this guy deserved what he got. So we're in the shopping center in Broomall. If you ever heard the story about me talking about the armored car heist where the guard got shot and all that stuff, same shopping center. So it was recessed below street level, but they would have these because it was like that. It was like a big bowl. They had these big drainage grates and ditches, so they would like kind of like dip down. So we had pushed his car back to a certain point. He's like, just push me this way, and he's going. I said, Mike, I don't know. Are you sure? I said, I don't. So we're going through this process. I'm pushing him, and he's in neutral, and then he hits one of these drainage ditches where, like, I was on his bumper, but now that he hit this drainage ditch, his vehicle dropped, and my bumper just went right through his trunk, like right through the back of his trunk when he dropped it in gear, and it did nothing. It all other than just all I heard was this, and his back trunk lid was squashed. And I'm like, I said, I didn't think that was going to work, or he got pissed off. He was ticked off, and he said something. I forget what he said. He's like, that's all right, don't worry about it, or something like that, because I probably proved him wrong. He didn't want to look like an idiot, but yeah, he very much looked like an idiot. I would have loved to have YouTubed it if that was around or available back then. But tell you a little bit more about this guy. He one time I had like 2 or 3 days off, which was very rare, and the like you're supposed to communicate. Like I was one of the assistant managers of the store, and I think there was 2 or 3 other assistant managers. Then he was the store manager. So I would you do like what's called a pass on, for the weekend for the chores to be done or notify people of what needs, what your my area encompassed. I forget what it was like, but I know the wood department was like one of my main babies, and that's what made me famous with that company because I was able to bring in a lot of new products and what have you that and our sales went through the roof due to my knowledge of the wood industry at that time. So I I'm on the weekend off. I come back. I left a note. It wasn't it was just like a informative list of what tasks need to be done in those departments that I managed. And it wasn't like, me barking out orders. It was just to inform the other managers, like, hey, this is what. And one of the ladies from the corporate office happened to be there and witnessed this event. And so he's yelling and barking about like something like I don't know, something didn't get done or I don't know. And I said, well, hey, Mike, I was like, I did leave a list before I was off on a couple of days off or what I don't think it was like a week's vacation. I think it was only 2 days off, whatever, which was very rare. And he goes, let me tell you something. You don't leave me list. I leave you list. And he's going on and on. And the lady who's from corporate, who's like a big wig, she's like in the upper executive staff. She's looking at me. I kind of just look at her and just kind of roll my eyes. And So he gets all ticked off, and I'm like, this guy is an absolute idiot, right? And our store at that time was starting to struggle because of the change of management, and that would be him. So usually, when you have a clearance aisle, usually you put it in the back of the store or like a non heavily trafficked area, but you try and make it neat and presentable. I kid you not. It was the most embarrassing, saddest thing I've ever seen in my life. He uh, he he made these poster board signs. He made them or had somebody do them, and he told them how to do it. Basically, it was like Elmer's glue with sprinkled glitter on it, and it said like clearance and all this stuff, and it just looked god awful. It was so bare, and it was so just like anybody with any bit of like I could have had like 3 or 4 weeks experience in retail and know like this was like a crap show. It was, no, it was terrible. So they finally come through. The owner comes through, and he's doing a walkthrough. They would do that periodically with all the stores, which is good. That's what they should do. And they had been looking. They had been making mental notes. They kind of already had some reports and stuff like that. And they get to the clearance aisle, and the owner kind of like blew a gasket, and he fired that guy, Mike Hess, because this guy was supposed to know retail, and he was supposed to, help AC Moore grow. But anyway, so that's me. The mean boss got karma paid back in return. So he trying to start an automatic. I didn't think it was possible. I even just Googled just to make sure I wasn't wrong, or just he failed in the efforts. But yeah, he got a crunched in trunk lid, and my thank God my Chevy Blazer didn't have any issues because it had those two big like rubber pad bumper things on the front, and so oh well, you live and learn. And he moved on to another career in you know Elmer's glue and glitter. Peace out, folks. I'm going to tell you all, I appreciate you tuning in for another edition of Story Time. It's probably not the most exciting one, but something just, reminded me of that today, and I thought I'd share it. And we're trying to kill some time. The sun's bright, just just trying to keep you all entertained. Peace out, folks. Always know your legal limits. Always try to help people.